we go. Well, hello. This is the draft recap thing for the Entei division with me, Neversaw, and Elite Grove, my friend,
Hello.
who is like the reason my drafts aren't complete dog shit.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're a great player.
Um, this is my third draft. Yeah, counting the off-season draft that just happened with the Sister League, this is the third draft I've done. These two were the previous. Oh, that is not what I wanted. League jump scare. I'm so sorry. Um, but this draft, this is the first time I've gotten a pick that was because I was 10th pick last time, 7th pick, um, or no, I was 10th the first time, 7th the second time. This time I had 5th pick, and I didn't really know what I wanted to draft going into this at all. Um, But when I saw the board, I saw Palafin was up, and that mon's really good. If I was really trying to just straight up win, honestly, I probably would have taken Palafin. It's just a really strong mon, and I really liked using it, but I wanted to try something different. And Grove over here was the one who suggested going for um, the Spectrier. I think there were a couple things otherwise we were considering, but I think that was the main one. Is there
There
anything
was
else that
nothing
was a
else.
consideration?
There was nothing else
Yeah,
you were considering, really. Mostly
maybe it
because
was
you were using
Terrapagos.
Nosferatu. It was, yeah, Tarap was the other one, yeah.
Terrapagos would have been kind of cool, but Spectrier is just kind of like a pretty cool mon. It's fast, it hits really hard, has decent bulk, gives normal and fighting immunities pretty cool as well.
It's a mini Dragapult that just hits way harder. It's
Yeah,
just a good mod.
it's a very cool mon. It's very one-dimensional in what it does. It has a little bit of set variety, but it's definitely not like a jack of all trades at all. It does its thing. Um, and then what was the second one here? That was Urshifu Singwol. So that one is pretty much when you get something like Spectrier, you just want something that can support it on, or something that's an offensive threat that's on the other side of things. Like Dark Bear is really good at covering like some of the weaknesses that Spectre has, namely Ghost and Dark. It just resists both of them, and it's a really strong physical attacker, and it's
It
got a
also hit,
more middling speed tier.
it can also hit normal types, which is a
Yeah,
pretty big one.
hits them super effective as well, which is really nice. The only
Also, the
type in the game.
combo of Ghost and Dark plus fighting is just very hard to deal with. At the same time, it's a very nice duo.
Yeah. I don't really know if we had like a backup. I guess we probably would have gone for some other fighter. The goal was a fighter primarily. Just happened that we got Dark Bear, which I think was the best we could have gotten. And I think one of the things that I've done poorly in my previous drafts, especially like this first draft I did, was like I didn't really support my main guy that I drafted. Like I drafted Palfin and I didn't really support it that well. It just kind of existed, which is not the worst thing. Palfin works pretty well, but I wanted to actually try and support the main mon this time instead of just leaving it to dry. So a lot of my early draft plans were definitely around making sure Spectre had a lot of room to work. So that's where the Shifu came in. What was the third pick here? Primarina, right.
I'm doing it for you because you literally said type them out as we're about to finish.
Perfect. Primarina, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I wanted a fairy type pretty early before they all went away, and Clefable was the one I was thinking about originally, but Clef ended up getting taken by Steve Guy on round
On the
3.
wheel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
on
on
the
the wheel.
wheel. Um, so the Clefable was gone, and we were kind of looking at options for other fairy types.
We were considering Screamtail. I think
Yeah,
Tinkaton might have been brought up, but we decided against it. I think the big one was Screamtail, but
yeah.
also Prim was there, and it just seemed like better to get Prim. Just has a lot more roll compression, and also it could just hits really hard.
I think Screamtail is mostly if we didn't get Prim, because we were kind of thinking about other fairies. We were like, that's not really great. And then I think it was you who brought up Primarina being on the board, and I was like, oh, hell yeah. Primarina is like exactly what I want here.
It's a pretty
Um,
straightforward mon. Hits really hard. It has a good coverage. You can use Liquid Voice in case you want to circumvent some like psychic immunities if you want to like psychic noise. Got a lot of good options. You can also flip turn. This stock's a little out of date, but yeah, it gets flip turn.
yep, which is really
Usually,
good.
yeah, usually you're gonna slap an AV on it, or you're gonna do leftovers, or even specs if you're gonna go more offensive for a week. But yeah, good mon.
Got good bulk. It just kind of it exists, and not really much more to it. Primarina is pretty straightforward mon, as you mentioned. Um,
Yep, good water and good fairy type.
so the fourth pick was actually interesting because it ends up being Serena was the fourth pick, but it was actually meant to be a later pick because my fourth pick was actually intended to be Rotom Heat. And I'll talk more about Rotom Heat when we get to it on the fifth pick, but the reason that I pivoted off of Rotom Heat is because spinners started going, and we were looking at what spinners were left. I think there weren't too many options. No, actually, no, there were plenty of options still up, but it was a
I
matter of what
should
worked on the team.
we should specify this is obviously Paldex for those
Yeah,
watching.
Paldex, no
So
removal.
the a lot of the hazard removal in Paldex is really bad unless you play Nat decks, in which case it's a lot better. So not a lot of great spinners, and there's even less defoggers. So we were looking for just a good option that didn't really overlap a lot. I think the other options we were looking at was like Donphan or Glamora. I don't
Mhm.
remember if Donphan was taken at this point,
It
but
was right
Evie
before it.
decided to go for wait, what happened? It
Dom
just
Fan was taken like literally one pick before by
yeah.
Bops, so
Yeah, but we decided on Zarina mostly because of the grass typing. It's nice to just grab an early grass type. It also just it has momentum with U-turn. It's also nice. Like Spectre is a mon that doesn't really swap in often, and we were thinking about ways to get Spectre in, and like obviously pivoting is that main one, which is why our top three so far outside of Spectre has had spinning or momentum moves, pivoting moves. Yeah. So like
one.
it's kind of just been focused on hitting really hard, having mons that fit a lot of roles, and Zarina also helped with that.
There are a couple other things as well. Serena being a grass type is also pretty nice with good enough bulk, like we can invest in the bulk, and it has a very good attack stat, so it can just do damage regardless of what investment you give it. But honestly, the big factor was we were looking at, I think, potentially defoggers as well, but I know I said that I wanted to try rapid spinner this time because I've only run defog as removal for the two other leagues I've done, and I wanted to try using a spinner for once. And Serena just happened to also be probably one of the best options I had on that role. So we just kind of went for it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I grabbed it then because I don't know what other people's plans were, but spinners were going. So,
Yeah. Another reason we picked Reno was because we were also already decided on picking up Rotom when we were looking at the board.
Jesse,
I
we have to cook.
not that. But we were like, wait, hold on. If we pick up Rotom round 4, there's gonna be like no hazard removal because by the time it's gonna come back, likely a lot of mons would go. So we already had our fire type decided, or Neversaw had their fire type decided. So when we were looking at potential spinners, we saw Zarina and Decidueye for grass types because obviously fire water grass core is like really nice. And we didn't want that type overlap with Spectre, especially not on like one of our defensive mons. So Neversaw ended up going for Zarina just because yeah, it had a better defensive type and for Rotom. So we went for round 4, so it didn't get sniped. And then we went Rotom round 5, but we had alternatives for Rotom. Like Moltres was an option just in case.
But
So we
Rotom
were
was
pretty
by
confident.
far the best that we
Yeah,
wanted in
but
that slot.
yeah, that's why we were confident on Rotom round 5 instead of round 4.
And also, I think Rotom Heat is a mon um, that very much what is it? Sorry, trying to remember. Rotom Heat just kind of fills multiple roles that fit really well with being an electric type, also being a fire type. Even if Overheat's the only attack it gets for fire types, it's kind of threatening on its own. But mostly it was the defensive profile is why we wanted Rotom. Because it just covers types really nicely for the mons that I picked, especially if you look at, say, Primarina's type chart and you compare it with Rotom. They're pretty much like exact opposites of each other. which is perfect when you have two pretty bulky mons. It also, of course, matches up well with Serena. It's your classic, what is this, the Firewater Grass core.
Yeah, that's what I called
Um,
it.
so
It's
pretty
also a
pretty
nice
standard stuff.
it's also our flying resist because we currently have 2 weaknesses while drafting.
Yep, and also it's a ground immunity, unless you have Mold Breaker. Please don't bring Mold Breaker Excadrill week 5 Tito. Please don't. Don't do it. um, but yeah, that definitely helped fix a little bit of ground type issues. And once again, we have pivoting! 4 pivoters in a row.
Yeah.
We love pivoting.
So for the
Um,
6th pick, this is one we were kind of going back and forth on a lot. We ended up deciding on Metagross.
oh right, so
You wanted to
I
steal.
yeah. So actually, the context for the draft up to this point was that we were kind of drafting one at a time through the pre-Marina pick, and then Serena and Rodom was kind of a tag team, um, where originally it was just Rodom, and then we were thinking about spinners, and then we decided Serena plus Rodom. Metagross onwards was the point where we actually started like planning out the rest of our draft in its entirety, um, and Metagross was part of that plan from the beginning. Um, or at least pretty early on, if I remember correctly. I mean, it's big Metagross. Guy is super bulky on the physical side, pretty bulky on the special side. Crazy high attack stat. Funny bullet punch does numbers. Not as much as Scizor's, but it certainly is not ignorable a lot of the time. Is that even a word? Ignorable?
I think that is a word.
I think that's a
Anyways,
word.
yeah, we picked it because it's a goddamn good ass steel type, and
Yeah.
Scizor was drafted round 2.
Yeah, no Scizor, and I mean, I personally love Metagross as a mon. It's really cool, so I'm happy I get to use it.
Also,
Um,
another big reason, sorry to interrupt,
yeah, yeah.
it gets knockoff support. We're kind of really lacking on knockoff on this team at this point. I'd actually, Rena
Well,
might get
Rena
it.
gets it. Rena gets it.
The other more important one, to be honest, was it's our first rocker. Our top
Rocks!
5 does not have any hazards whatsoever. So getting Metagross on the board was really nice. We had other steel types we had in mind, but we really, I think, did we consider Skarm? I think we might have considered Skarm.
I
Um,
don't think we talked about it, but it was probably in the back of both of our minds that we were like, yeah, Skarmory could work if needed.
yeah, but we really just wanted a good rocker, and I figured Metagross would be good because it'd give us a secondary priority. It's
Yep.
also just really, really bulky on the physical side, and we don't really have a dedicated physical wall. We have a dedicated special wall with Prim. We have 2 generalist walls with Zarina and Rotom. And the only guy that really stood out on the physical side would be Urshifu, and that's not really a mon you want to be taking a lot of hits.
Yeah.
So that's where we ended up with Metagross. Yeah.
So I think actually before Metagross has decided, the first Pokemon that was like we planned around for the back half of the draft was actually the next pick, if I remember correctly. Yes, it is actually the Espeon on 7 was planned before Metagross, and first thing that comes to mind, yo, what the heck are we doing? We got double Psychic back to back. Um, but Espeon, I mean, okay. First things first. I love eeveelutions. If you couldn't tell by my team name and my logo, I really like all the eeveelutions. I even did a whole VGC tournament with only eeveelutions. That was a lot of fun. And so when we were looking at the draft, Espeon actually fills a pretty good spot on the team with its speed tier being right in between Urshifu and Spectrier. Very good for speed tier coverage, but also it has a damn high special attack stat. 130 is nothing to scoff at, and since it's our Terra Captain, it can deal honestly even more damage than Spectre if you set it up properly. And Magic Bounce is also a really nice additional bonus. It's not like the main thing that you're always playing around for like denying hazards, but you can't status this thing at all. It's impossible unless you have like Mold Breaker Tinkaton, I think is basically the only thing that's going to status this.
Mold Breaker, Myceliumite, those types of moves.
Yeah.
And even then, Synchronize, if you decide to go for Synchronize, it's not even bad. If you like, if you want to get, there was a thing that I was thinking about where Synchronize would be better, but then I forgot. Whatever. Anyways, the other reason that Espeon was good, even though now we're mentioning special attacks, even though we have like 3 really good special attackers right now, when we go on with our draft, you're gonna see that like why we valued Espeon. highly for its special attack, even though we already have. This would just be our third special attacker now. But it'll make more sense as we continue. It also with Espeon gets a lot of type coverage moves, and also with
Mm-hmm.
Terra it just gets even better because like you can Terra Fairy, Terra Poison makes Calm Mind store power sets really dumb. Terra Fairy makes Draining Kiss sets really good. It's this mon with Terra is just really good.
It is the first mon I think on the list that's like genuinely just not a very bulky mon at all. I think Spectre and Urshifu have a surprising amount of bulk sometimes because they both have base 100 HP. Espeon is very frail. It has some bulk on the special side. It's going to die to a physical attack, so this is the first actual frail mon on the team. But it was also, yeah, again, like the speed tier on Espeon was really important for the team to make sure that you don't just get completely exploited for having nothing in between 97 to 130.
Yep.
And then the big guy.
We decided next on Rhyperior. This was
So
not a first pick, I will say.
no,
There was plans for Lycanroc Dusk because I thought the mon was cool, and then I
it
had to
is
take a
cool.
double take because when I was going through it again, I'm like, wait a minute, we don't have a fucking ground type.
Yo, where is
That's
our
bad.
ground type? um, so with that in mind, we were kind of like trying to figure out what ground type to do. I almost picked a ground type on 7. I think it was like late at night that I was figuring this all out, and I just went for Espeon because I was like, like screw it, like we'll we'll figure out the ground type stuff if needed. Um, or rather, what was it? Sorry, I'm forgetting what it
We
is.
did. You hadn't decided on a ground type yet by the
And it
time
was
the
too
pick
late
came
at
back to you
night.
for round 7. So,
Yeah.
and at that point, I was already asleep, and Eevee, I think, was gonna go to bed soon, probably.
Yeah, it was
So we
pretty
already
late.
had the Espeon pick lined up, so we were like, we'll pick up Espeon, and if anything, we have
hmm
alternatives for Rhyperior. But yeah.
So Rhyperior was decided on. There were a couple others we were thinking about for ground types. I was talking to someone about like Hippowdon because it's 9 points now. There's talks of Sandy Shocks and Mamoswine. I think they could have been pretty good, but Rhyperior actually gives a double whammy for what we were looking for. It's a ground type, which is perfect. It is also a rock type, which is nice because we were kind of looking at that for Lycanroc Dusk, and so this is kind of similar. Just instead of it being like a fast, frail attacker, this is a slow, bulky attacker. But it also has 2 really good abilities. Kind of 3. I don't know if anyone actually uses Reckless on it. But
I
Lightning Rod
don't
and
think
Solid
this
Rock are
thing
good.
uses Reckless at all because it doesn't get Head Smash. You can use
Ah.
the Reckless Double Edge if you want, but that's not very
Uh,
good normally.
yeah. I normally. Um, Solid Rock is just an incredible ability. Anybody who's used, like, for instance, River Room has Filter, which I believe those are the same abilities, effectively. Solid Rock and Filter. Um, it's just a really good ability, especially on an already bulky mon. It's so hard to remove it in 1 hit, let alone sometimes 2 hits. But we also have the option of Lightning Rod, and Lightning Rod with like a Terra, like water or flying, could be insanely good just because of the fact that now you're just immune to electrics, which is perfect because then nobody can actually Volt Switch on you. So this thing fills multiple roles, and also this thing's physical attack is crazy. Its physical bulk is also it somehow puts Metagross to shame with its physical bulk, which is crazy because Metagross has really good physical bulk.
Yeah,
Um, it's just a
and
cool mon.
yeah, this thing with Terra is also just insane. Really explodable typing. You swap out of it. Solid Rock makes it really good. The Terra with Lightning Rod, I think you mentioned, also really good.
hmm
Uh, and I don't think we mentioned it already. The reason we wanted a ground type is because this team, prior to the ground pickup, was really Volt Switch weak. Because all of our switch-ins to electric types have a lot of very good switch-ins to them. Rena, as a grass type, has a lot of weaknesses. Rotom, electric fire is really good defensively. But if opponents can react to it, water types are really common. Rock types
hmm
really common. Not something you really want to be dealing with.
Yep. So having something that is proper immune is really good, and the fact that I think it's really important for Rhyperior that if we picked a different ground type, it probably wouldn't have been the Terra Captain.
Uh,
Rhyperior as a Terra Captain is perfect because it has the Lightning Rod ability, so we can still choose any type we want and get around like a really dangerous Volt Switcher and still be fine.
There was one Terra Captain I was mentioning. I don't know if you actually considered it seriously, but I was mentioning, and it probably would have ended up being a Terra Captain if you did go that route. Was Right On, which would have just been
Yes.
a cheaper Right
It
Period.
gets lightning rod as well, right?
Yes, it
Um,
does.
yeah, that would have been the same category. It would have been different because I think it's like kind of an EVO
It's
bot. Um,
yeah,
but it could have done the same thing as Rhyperior. But if we went like Hippowdon, if we went, obviously if we went any 10-point higher mon, it wouldn't have been. But yeah, Hippowdon was the main one where we wouldn't have made it to Terra Captain because we want to keep that ground typing for denying a lot of volt switching, and it's mainly just that powerful electric types. They're kind of scary.
yeah. Also, just Rhyperior in general, because we haven't really discussed the Mon's qualities. Obviously, secondary rocker. Having Metagross as the only rocker kind of sucks when it's a
Hmm.
Mon that could go really offensive. So Rhyperior helps settle that. It gets a lot of good setup. I think it gets Rock Polish. I don't think it was one of the Mons that got that removed. It gets Rock
Yeah,
Polish. I think it gets Bulk Up. You could go Weakness
gets
Policy,
Sword
similar to
Stance
Metagross,
apparently.
Swords Dance. It does a lot. It also has really good move
Oh,
coverage.
I
Add Terra
don't
on top of it, it's insane.
I don't think it gets bulk up, but it does get Curse, which is basically bulk up.
Yeah, it's basically Bulk Up for this guy. This guy's so slow.
um,
Yeah.
so that's cool with the Rhyperior, and then the ninth Mon was always decided. I think once we realized we were looking at the Lycanroc and then even the Rhyperior, this guy was, well, the one we wanted. This is the first Mon that I have drafted that is a repeat in the 3 seasons. It is my goat, Braviary. This guy is so cool. Unfortunately, not a Terra Captain, unlike last time, but I think this might be one of the most underrated, like, low point Mons I've seen. Maybe without Terra, it's like maybe not that scary, or we're gonna find out. Um, but this thing is just a menace. Like, it has good bulk, like it's 175, 75. A decent speed tier. 80 is not terrible. It can use Scarf pretty well. It gets Defog, which is great for like another hazard removal. On this team at this point, we have Serena, plus
And now
Espeon Magic
Braviary.
Bounce, and now we have Braviary for Defog. The last time I used Braviary, it was my only hazard removal because I drafted a whole team without hazard removal. Um, so it's kind of forced into defog defensive every week, barring like 1 week, I think. Um, so I'm really excited to actually use it for its offensive power because this thing has 123 attack with sheer force and defiant. What the heck?
It's really strong, yeah.
It's
And
also a
then
flyer.
so when we mentioned that we wanted a Volt Switch immunity, it's because we already planned on bringing in Braviary onto the team because we wanted an actual flying type. So that was another reason why we ended up going for the Rhyperior pick or the ground looking at the ground types.
Also,
Well, honestly, we should have looked at ground types at the beginning, but I was stupid when I was making
yeah,
suggestions. It is
it's
what it is.
okay. We
And then
we
the
got
other
there.
thing was this team can't hit grass types outside of freaking Rotom Heat, so we really
Which
needed the
overheat,
Braviary. That
not the most
literally just
consistent
overheat
move.
hits grass types. It's really bad. And so we ended up going for Braviary in the end, which hey, it's a cool mon. This mon is really good with Terra. If we were allowed a third Terra captain, this thing would have easily been it. Like, if we picked up what is it? If we picked up Hippowdon, Braviary would have been the Terra captain every time. It's just
Absolutely.
it's Hippowdon's like it would have been like really passive. Like it can hit hard and it lives forever, but like Braviary has a lot more opportunities to do different things. It's a better speed tier, so you go Scarf. But
Really more
if this
sheer
team ends up
force.
changing at all, Braviary and we drop one of our Terra captains, Braviary probably ends up with Terra.
Yeah. The
This
last
mon
thing
is
we
so
actually
good.
didn't touch on was Ghost Immunity. It's also our
Oh, that
one
too, yeah.
Ghost Immunity, which is perfect because at this point in the draft, you might have noticed that early on, like we picked up the Shifu for, it counteracts Ghost and Dark really well. And then we picked up Primarina, which also helps with our Dark type matchup. So even though we have like technically three Dark Weak Mons, it's not really that bad. Shifu eats them for breakfast. Primarina eats it pretty well. And Espeon's Terra Captain anyway, so it can kind of get out of it. Ghost type, on the other hand, was actually kind of scary because it was basically just Urshifu. Like if you go Terra Fairy Espeon, that's not helping you with the Ghost type matchup. And so Braviary, on top of the fact that it's filling a flyer role, it's a really strong offensive threat, some bulk, defog. The flying offense is really appreciated. Normal offense can hit hard some weeks. and it gets like fighting coverage, really nice. But very importantly, it's also the only ghost immunity on the team, which is really nice because obviously people are going to be looking at Spectrier, Metagross, Espeon, and being like, ghost type moves looking pretty good. So that thankfully stops that from happening. And then the 10th pick was originally Charge-a-Bug, and that was mainly because Muck was unfortunately not available. Steve Guy sniped it in the exact round I was going for it. Thank you to the
Literally
wheel sniping again.
happened again with the Clef, now with the Muck.
It's okay. Primarina is better for the team. Copium.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't have to pick up another bulky water. It's a really good one. So
Yep. But Charger Bug was originally the idea just because there's like a physical fighting resist that was pretty bulky, and I mean it could set webs, pivot, do some disrupting, but it was just a low point guy. But Muck was the main pick that we were after because this guy has really good bulk. Grove over here thought that it had like what is it 105
I thought
50
it was
defense.
I thought it was 50 defense. I
Nope.
was thinking about its speed stat.
It is 75. This thing is 105 75 100. This guy is very bulky and also hits surprisingly hard with 105 attack. And mostly, I mean, it's a poison type. It will eat up toxic spikes really nicely. It's very bulky into the fighters. And what other types? I mean, I guess
It's
it's like
it's another fairy resist as
yeah,
well, which is nice. Specifically, it's a good fairy resist on the special side that can also still hit them. So like it's basically to cover like our Urshifu matchups. So like Urshifu feels really comfortable. We have Metagross for physical fairies like Valiant and stuff. I mean Valiant can sometimes go
maybe not
special, but then
Valiant, but
we have Muck also for just special hitting fairies. Just to alleviate pressure on Rotom and Metagross really. That and obviously Obligate, Poison type. Comes in, absorbs T spikes. Doesn't have to come every week. If it comes 1 week, it's already getting its point value. This thing is 1 point for some reason.
the funny.
It's a lot of good value. It also just gets a lot of good moves. It can set its own T spikes, gets knockoff again. It's a good mon.
Yep. It do things. It click buttons, it eat hits, and it's just very good. It's also very funny because Grove over here told me before about how it can actually answer Spectrier pretty effectively.
Slap an EV on
And
it.
yeah, well, good luck doing that. I may have both Spectrier and Mach. So
Okay, to be fair, there are other probably better answers
okay, no,
to Spectre than Muck, but you know.
They don't exist. They can't. You cannot. They simply do not exist. Terapagos is not a Pokemon. That Pokemon does not exist.
Yeah, no, Muck is really good.
This is insane value
Poison
pickup.
type, poison types in post fairy generations get a lot better, and Muck just has really good stats. It's a nice budget poison type that this team kind of wanted. Because
Mhm.
unless we're running, if we didn't have a poison type, basically Rena was gonna run boots every time to spin, or Braviary was gonna run boots for rocks, and then also defog. But having the Muck at least helps to dissuade T spikes on a team that has a lot of T spike, a lot of mons that eat T spikes and don't. And what am I trying to say?
They
That
don't
when they
want to be
get
poisoned.
poisoned, they are really sad because a lot of these guys are really bulky
Mhm.
and they kind of want to take hits.
Yep. And there's a one last Pokemon in this list. We have to add the last one. Very
Yeah, I got it.
important. The team mascot makes its way back onto the team for the third time. Somehow, my teams have been like they just work out that I can keep picking up Eevee. Um, I have something special cooked up that I hopefully can do some week with this Eevee because I really want to use it at some point because it's got some really funny stuff that I can actually do, and we will see if it can actually do anything. So keep an eye
Oh,
out for
and
that one.
most importantly, it makes our type chart look a little better at the bottom. You see how that ghost type isn't a red?
Ooh.
It's now blank. It's because of the EV.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
But
literally
yeah.
because of the EV.
Mhm. So that was our draft plan. We kind of the beginning part was kind of just thrown together like one by one, and then when we got into the back half, we had a much better idea of what we wanted, which kind of makes sense going into a draft. Maybe you're not sure of how you want to start it, but you have like pieces you start with, and then when you get towards the back half, you can start actually planning stuff out because everyone's got their own plans, and you're a lot less likely to coincide with someone else's plans and like accidentally overlap picks. So yeah, overall, I think this is a really cool draft. Um, it, speed tiers are like kind of crazy good, a lot of
Got every
variety.
Yep, literally everything everywhere. I think the only speed tier that's a little like sus is like 130 to 110, but there's so few mons between there that can actually abuse that speed tier. I think we literally checked
It's
125,
talent.
so like Weavile and Darkrai can't even like run modest if we go max speed Espeon. It's like yeah, like you said, it's literally just Talonflame, which is like I mean it's a Talonflame. If we're really having issues with that, we have Rotom Heat. Like Talon
Hmm.
is not a concern to be honest.
And
So
the
yeah,
only
pretty good
other
speed tiers
mon,
across the board.
yeah, the only other mon that actually like speed ties, or well, obviously there's a couple mons faster than Spectrier, but only Jolteon actually speed ties it. And it's gonna kind of be forced to run speed if it's playing into Spectrier, because it doesn't want to get outsped by an Espeon randomly. And it doesn't want to lose to a Spectre either, but I guess there is Quick Feet in that case. But yeah,
If a,
that's
if a Jolteon's running Quick Feet, it's not running a damage boosty item, which makes it a lot worse. But
hmm
yeah.
that's pretty much it. Any final thoughts on this? I think we've pretty much covered our final thoughts on that.
Yeah, we've pretty much we were basically just trying to draft something that covered for Spectre stuff, and it slowly just melded into bulky offense, which is new for Eevee. So hopefully she'll be able
hmm
to pilot it well, because she's basically just been playing HO every week. So
Yeah, well, Okay, I had a little bit of a taste in the other league using Diancie. So
yeah,
hopefully that primed me
your other
enough
team
to
was
do
more
this.
balanced, so this is like
Yeah.
this is a bit different. So hopefully you can pilot it well. I think this team is really good personally. It has a lot of good pivoting options, a lot of different options. I think the only thing about this team that's kind of like not great is you don't have a spiker, which could come up, but like aside from that, I mean Rhyperior might have spikes, I'm actually not sure.
Uh,
Um oh well you're checking. But yeah,
yeah,
like
hold
I
up.
think this team just has a lot of really good variety. You just control F.
No, it doesn't look like it gets spikes. No.
No. But yeah,
Yeah, there might not be a
really good
spiker.
Terra captains, really good strong offense, hits both sides, kind of just covers everything. The only thing this team is missing is like a dragon type, which is like not exactly the end of the world. You kind of cover
Sorry,
all your bases.
Terra Dragon Espeon or Rhyperior coming to one of your games near you.